Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of What We Do in the Shadows, The Wellness Center. And I overall really enjoyed this one. It wasn't laugh out loud funny for a lot of the jokes, but I still found everything pretty humorous, and I just liked how we kind of delved into characters and the crazy ass fucking situations that occurred from what was going on. So we start off the episode, and we are shown that it is Nandor's Ascension Day, which is when he assumed control and leadership of his country, and that they celebrate that every year. We see how that kind of entails him dressed up in his country's regalia, his friends kind of like playing around with it, Colin fucking belly dancing around, just being an asshole. So we see that Guillermo is setting up for this Ascension Day this year, and he's like, it's his favorite paper, creepy paper. I love that callback for that. It was just a funny little callback. But we get Nandor out, and we see that he is not really having it. It's like the advisor chick is there as well. It's like, all right, what the hell's going on? And we see that Nandor is depressed and is essentially having like a midlife crisis kind of thing. He's like, what is it all for? I'm still living with roommates. I've been a vampire for 700 years, and he doesn't feel fulfilled. We see that, like, Laszlo and Nadja are like, oh, you gotta avoid, like, a vampire depression. It just fucking sucks your ass in, and it's just like, nope. And then we see them, like, dodging around for him and all that. Even Colin is, being the energy vampire that he is. It's like, alright. Even though he's got, like, a prime opportunity to, like, do some shit here, he's like, I'm not having any of this. Well, we then see that Nadja decides to, like, try and give him a win kind of thing. Be like, oh, look, this person, they haven't paid their dues for the Vampire Council. Who will do this? And of course, like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not manly enough to do it. Colin's like, yeah, whatever, fine. And of course, Nandor's like, fine, I'll fucking do it. So he goes in, and he goes to this kind of, like, wellness center kind of thing. And it's got all these creepy people who's like, yes, I'm looking for Jan, and they're like pointing in ways, and we see this like age aerobics class kind of thing, and Nandor just kind of goes to this like, yes, I'm here from the Vampiric Council. He's kind of confused about what's going on, so it kind of snaps him out a little bit, and he's like, you haven't paid your dues for 132 years. 132 years. I'm like, you would think the Vampiric Council would like fuck with that shit a little bit harder or whatnot, but evidently this person's been able to kind of like slide under the radar or whatnot. And she says, oh no, I'm a human. And then, of course, does her fang kind of thing, and she's had her fangs pulled out. It's like, what the fuck? Nandor's even kind of confused, but they are trying to be human and everything. And we see that this is essentially like a cult MLM kind of scenario where she's pretty much drawn these people and she's making it look like they become human, drinking water, try to eat an apple, but throwing up afterward, and Nandor's not even fucking noticing. And we see that he has decided to join them. The rest of the group, mainly Guillermo, tries to stop him, but he's like, nope, nope, I'm doing it. And of course, we find out that he is hot for Jan as well. So it's like, oh, okay, that kind of explains things. It's like, okay, yeah, you get sucked into this kind of like cult kind of thing. It's pretty much a reason, especially with like what was going on with Gale and everything. So, and him being lonely and not having a partner was another kind of big reason for his depression. So I was like, yep, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go live and be a human. And before he goes to do that, even though he's dressed up in his human kind of outfit, Guillermo asks him to turn him into a vampire because he's been there for 11 years and once. And he's like, you know what? I care about you too much. I would not curse you with vampirism. And just like he goes, tries to walk across the street, a fucking car pretty much hits him. He rips off the side view mirror. Actually, he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? And then we pretty much see a montage of him trying to live as a human and seeing Jan trying to explain how to be like a human. And it's really weird seeing him dressed up as in the 80s, celebrating losing cornhole and everything. They have to rip out their fangs every night because they grow back because of their healing. And the thing is, Nandor doesn't even notice that they cut up and do food, but they just immediately throw it away. And that Jan's pretty much just bilking these people to thinking that they can become human doing it this way. It's like, alright, But it was interesting to see Nandor just sucked up in this and trying to be like, hey, I got a community and everything. He's like, yes, I'm number two. And where I used to live, they'd make fun of me for saying number two. But I am, and I'm like powerful and strong here. It's like, all right, I get it. You needed the respect and everything. But joining a cult and doing shit like this ain't that kind of bag, man. So while that's going on, we see that Colin, even like barely, like Nandor had barely left. He's like, I get his room. We see Colin pretty much pushing Nandor's shit aside and marking his room by farting on everything. And it's just like, oh, okay, because evidently, of course, vampires don't have working digestive systems like in our traditional sense. So he's marking everything by farting on it. Guillermo, of course, is worried about him and wants to check up on him, and he's like going through the room, and it's stinking, of course. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're looking for this pamphlet that he left that said 'fuck you assholes' pretty much on it." And Guillermo just decides to go in and kind of check what everything's out. Of course, making it look like he's going in to do a workout and all that. He's got his vampire killing gear on him just in case. And then Nandor's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, just get my fitness on and everything." Of course, Jen's like, "What the fuck's this?" It's like human, and then sees, of course, the vampire killing implements, and we just get this great fucking action scene where Guillermo is just like beating the shit out of these vampires while dragging Nandor with him. The action scenes were actually pretty well done and showed a really good controlled use of their effects, where he had garlic in his water bottle to pretty much get everybody away. He was using a cross pretty effectively. There's a fight where he was able to like fight a vampire with a hula hoop, and of course we see in the mirror that the vampire didn't have a reflection, and that was actually very well done. I gotta hand it to him. They know how to fucking work with their effects budget and make it look great. I always tip my hat on that kind of stuff, and they just keep knocking it out. Well, Guillermo then like straps him in and goes off, and Nandor's like, "I'm actually happy. Let me be happy." And it's like, yeah, but it's not really true happiness. You're doing weird kind of shit that isn't having you actually address the issues that you have. You deluded yourself into thinking that you're human and learning weird and awfully inaccurate information about what it means to be human, and this person's just using you for sex pretty much because, of course, Jen's like, yeah, we fuck. And it's like, all right, man, that's not good, not healthy, man. It's interesting how it's presented this way, because you then have to see, is Guillermo in the wrong for taking him if he's happy, but is Nandor being completely stupid and unreasonable for being happy in a cult, which could eventually get him killed? Because Jan's like, yep, the jig is up, and essentially he's like, yep, we got this last thing that'll turn you all human, and pretty much suckers all the rest of the vampires out during the daylight, kills them. It's like, time to start over. She murdered them all. This, like, fucking shit, man. Screw her. And we had seen that Guillermo had lined the seatbelt with silver so that Nandor couldn't escape, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot on both sides that are kind of wrong with this. It's just like fucked up people doing fucked up things. It's like, yeah, all right. And then we end the episode, and Guillermo's like, yeah, I kind of did something wrong. And everybody's like, what? Is something wrong with your pee-pee? It's like, it's not about my pee-pee. Come with me. And they, of course, reused the cage that they had Guillermo in, and the rest of the group sees what's going on with Nandor and his weird haircut and everything, sees that he had his fangs pulled out, and it's like, this is fucking weird, man. It's like, alright, cool, whatever. They leave, and of course they leave him in the dark and all that. So we'll definitely have to see how this kind of works out for Nandor and the rest of the house group, and what's going to kind of be going on there. I know Nandor was in a crazy headspace during this episode, and it was nice to kind of delve into that and what that means being an immortal being, and what you can kind of do, and they can fall in the same kind of traps and pitfalls that we as humans can, of what is the meaning of my existence, and just, okay, I've been alive for 700 years, what have I accomplished? It's like, yeah, I get that, but you want to talk over with people with that, not do some weird ass fucking shit where somebody's pretty much gonna like take advantage of you and screw you over, like Jan did with all the rest of the vampires in there. And then, of course, Guillermo is going in to help their friend. It's like, ooh, yeah, I understand that. And I understand that he's still a vampire, and you'd have to have the restraints that can hold him, but it's kind of... Sometimes you gotta let people, like, step on their own asshole, pretty much, to kind of learn something. And Nandor hasn't at this point. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you may be able to tell somebody or show somebody something, but it's not until they get the consequences of their actions themselves that it really kind of like hits home. So maybe there'll be another kind of Jane kind of thing that pops up that gets Nandor out of it, but we'll see how the show and the group kind of deals with this. So I'm kind of excited to see how that works out. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.